Builders of the pyramids and perhaps the most iconic of ancient people, the ancient Egyptians were isolated for more than a millennia from any significant foreign military threat. Forbidding deserts protected most of its substantial borders from intrusion, leaving only a few strategic points that were necessary to fortify these fortresses. Along with a conscript of army of one out of every 100 able-bodied men called up when needed was sufficient protection for the first two great epochs of the Egyptian history called by Egyptologists the Old and Middle Kingdoms. Weapons during this lengthy time period of Egyptian history changed a little. Egyptian units were typically divided into spearmen or bowmen employed a simple mass-produced Dave bow effective in massed volleys. Although small copper daggers and axes were used during this period, the preferred sidearm was a simple yet effective weapon. The mace, consisting of a wooden handle with a stone or copper head at the end, wielded by a strong individual quite capable of crushing the bone and rendering a foe incapacitated with one well-placed strike. Egyptian warfare changed forever after roughly 100-year period of Hyksos domination. These people of possibly mixed Semitic and Hurrian ancestry introduced the Egyptians to a variety of new weapons. Bronze, melting, and the worst and chariot Nubia also took advantage of this situation to conquer the south and subdue the Egyptian southern fortress that had remained unbreached for many centuries. This century left the Egyptians so traumatized that a military state developed. Considerations of the birth and privilege of the royal and priestly class that completely dominated Egyptian society beforehand was gradually but not completely supplanted by a warrior caste centered around the pharaoh's chariot corps. Adept commanders could rise to the highest levels of Egyptian society and accomplished soldiers could rise to the officer level and secure positions for their offspring if capable. Two permanent standing armies were created for the first time in Egyptian history, one in the Upper Egypt and one in the Lower Egypt. These were supported by conscripts who were called up at the rate of 1 in 10 rather than 1 out of 100 able-bodied men. When the need arose, a massive bureaucratic infrastructure was developed to run stud farms for the pharaoh's chariots, keep the army paid and fed, run a spy network and message carriers who operated across the ancient Near East. The bronze Kopesh sickle sword replaced the mace as the preferred close combat sidearm for Egyptian soldiers. The back could have possibly been used to pull away the enemy's shield, exposing them to a deadly strike with a slashing weapon. Also highly favored by Egyptians during this period after the Hyksos, known as the New Kingdom, were a variety of battle axes, both signed and double-handed, where the shield would be slung over the back. The typical New Kingdom Egyptian army was arrayed with infantry in the front arches behind them where they could rain down a rail of arrows in relative safety and the chariots and skirmishers on either wing. It was during the New Kingdom that the Egyptian Empire reached its greatest territorial extent, battling Bronze Age, Mesopotamian empires, and city-states in the vast battles under the pretext of protecting their bodies and the glory of pharaohs, who proudly described their powers with the chariot and bow, their ability to marshal formations of the troops on the field of battle, and their glories at the end of the war.